The last time these were shown, they were shown as part of a collection around the three fates, and so there was Clotho, Lychesis, and I'm probably not saying that properly, and Atropos. And Atropos is the third fate from Greek mythology, and she's the one who cuts the thread of life. So the other two, Clotho spinning, Lychesis measuring the length of your life, and Atropos with her shears cutting through. So some of these pieces that are not here are really big ones. So these are the small bound ones. So the thought was in my mind that if we had scissors that couldn't function, then two things. You can't cut the thread of life, which is also quite scary too, but also around the other work I've got here and the relationship with that is that to be bound, to be tied up, to be unable to function, because to function scissors need to open and close, means that you're eternally tied to the mother, which is also quite frightening as well. I'm a tapestry weaver as well, and people will call it cross-stitch tapestry, and I'm like, oh no, they're different. So it's very important that these are crocheted, because there's something about the very overlooked domestic and reinterpreting that in a different way that I really enjoy. I can't escape kind of the relationship with these being red next to the white cloth scissors. I remember volunteering as a child in a nursing home and putting together some flowers that were red and white and getting told off for putting together blood and bandages. And I think that's probably stayed with me really, this sort of pain and care, and they're both very closely related in all the work that I do really. So I am unable to sit and watch a film or anything without doing something. So for me, these often happened in the evening when everybody else is relaxing. I'm crocheting these, so these are kind of bound by me crocheting them together. And they've all changed over time. That's the only one that's kind of stayed the same. But now I see them, my next step is perhaps to think of how I love seeing them in a box. The box is beautiful, about containing them and holding them in this place. So these two are known as the babies, but you know, they're called Brother Love because originally, when I say brother love, I guess what I'm saying is that they're not necessarily about brothers, but about all of us. So it's a sense of shared love and tenderness. And yes, I did knit them without a pattern. And they started at their toes, and I work my way up. And there's a lot of backwards and forwards. Sometimes I get them right, and more often than not I got them wrong, so I had to unravel them. And on the back they have like a bottom with a little dimple either side. So something about creation as well, you know. I guess the white one, the cream one here, was actually a representation of my own brother, who I lost very tragically and violently when he was quite young, and so that tenderness there was about me filling some gap really, some absence, and making him in softness. And so the other one has some sense of being me, but I think they change, their meaning changes for me over time as well. So, and I think that's true of a lot of artwork, it doesn't stay static. So these pieces become about a sense of brother love in the very widest context. Should make you think of tenderness and love, and how we relate to each other and how they are in relation with each other there. And just little things that I still like myself about the toes and how the pink one's feet turn in. It's quite sweet. So it's nothing feels finished in these things, which is a bit like the idea of being in the world and being, and I use the term mothering in the very broadest sense. Yeah. And it was part of a drive to find the right skin feel, and working with the idea of how do we make babies. I remember my son, when he was very little, asking me once how a baby's made, and I went into this really long discussion about how babies were made, and then I said, is that okay? And he went, not really. And I said, oh, what did I get wrong? He said, I just wanted to know how they grew their arms. So it kind of like, it came out of that first conversation about how a baby's made and how we make each other. So it relates a lot back to Winnicott's work around mothering and what it is to be mothered, but more from the experience of making, being the mother. These scissors are all made from old bed linen, and it's bed linen I've collected over the years. It's French linen, and I guess the first thing I thought when I saw them here again was how much like bodies they are. And I think originally they're from a collection of work called Mothers Are Wolves in Sheep's Clothing, and I think of them as cloth bodies because if you think of scissors, they have arms and legs, and they have a great sense of being bodies, and they're all kind of bunched up here. And the thing about scissors is that scissors are made to cut, and in terms of our personal development, we need to separate from the mother or the maternal relationship to become proper individuals in our own right. And so it's kind of menacing having scissors that don't work, that are soft, and are actually quite useless, but also quite cosy and warm. And they don't all fit as a pair either. So the legs are quite separate. They're not completely. If you look at them, you'll see that some of the legs, talk about them as legs rather than blades. Some of them don't. They're kind of like on their own, waiting to tie up with the other. There's a couple that are tied together. Yeah, and I'm deliberately kept the sense of them being repaired and patched up, like the experience of being alive, really, having the marks of life visible. So they were very old because you could see how they'd been woven. I find myself rearranging them. My goodness, when the guy came to collect them, he was like, oh, and they were all wrapped in black bin bags, so we carried them outside, and it really was like bring up the bodies, carrying them out.